Good morning, everyone. Super excited that you decided to join this presentation track. And the title of my talk today is Neuroplasticity Practices for Sustainable, Resilient Individuals in IT. Now we are at the first really crucial point of this keynote. It's an interactive one. And what that means is I invite you to contribute. I just put a link into the chat. It's at polab.com, and I want to ask you, how are you doing today on a scale from 1 to 10? So this is the crucial moment where you have to open up a browser and copy and paste the link from the chat into poleverywhere.com/BirgitPenzen129. So I'm really interested in where are you from completely relaxed to actually really triggered. It's been a stressful day, fight or flight mode. Thanks for the first answer in here. All right. Interesting. So we're quite a bit spread out here. Okay. Fairly even keeled. Good. I like that a lot. So first of all, thanks a ton for participating. This is really nice because sitting on this side of the screen with not being able to see my audience as I give a talk requires a bit of confidence. And by getting this feedback, I know that, yep, you're sitting here and you really care about the presentation. So I really care about making this relevant to you. So my next question is, what are the challenges that you currently experience in your teams? So how has it been working remotely, which many of us are doing at the moment? Is there any trouble that has come up in like communicating in teams or between people? Do you experience less challenges or more challenges? And do you experience different challenges managing a remote workforce as opposed to in the office face-to-face all the time? So for that one, now that you already have the browser open, maybe you can pop in your challenges to see where things are really, well, getting interesting at the moment, let's say. So are challenges the same as you had before? Are there any communication challenges? Wow, somebody put none. You have no challenges in your teams. Congratulations. Okay, everything is the same but requires more time. Coordination efforts, capacity. So that could refer to capacity for individuals. Meet often for chats and discussion, yes. Meetings are not as smooth. Yeah, not able to meet all the colleagues face to face. So there is a connection element that is gone. Leveling different expectations on productivity. Yes, some are more productive, others less. It's not synchronized. Things require more coordination. Status checkups are similar or easier. Okay, tricky in-depth discussions are harder. Again, none. Okay. So again, congratulations to people who have no challenges with their teams whatsoever. Harder with availability of specific hardware. Okay. Informal communication, sometimes better. Good. Ad hoc meetings are harder. All right. Thanks a lot for putting in those challenges. So we see a lot of those are people challenges in the sense of, oh, got to coordinate, got to communicate. And this here is a figure that I drew a little earlier this year with the basic tasks that we often face in our work on a computer, independent of what technical job we have specifically. Includes like schedule meetings, doing reviews, writing reports, creating some deliverables, emails for coordinating, and then wash, rinse, and repeat. So that can already get quite a bit in our daily lives, in our daily work lives. And then there are all these things that come on top, like a global pandemic hitting, or other things that happen in your personal life. And so there is something that we call cognitive overload, which means when we just have things piling on top of us and we're not quite at capacity anymore. Now, what usually happens when we're at capacity or above capacity for a while is we have our parasympathetic nervous system kicking in. The parasympathetic nervous system regulates the activities that occur when our body's at rest. So when we're physically resting, when we're digesting or breathing, or when we're in recovery. And the most important nerve in the system is the so-called vagus nerve. And you see here on the right side in that graphic that there are a lot of really important organs that are connected via this vagus nerve: the heart, the lungs, stomach, liver, the kidneys, and parts of your intestines, or large parts of your intestines. Now, if we zoom in on that vagus nerve a little, then we also see, oh, there's the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys. So what happens here? If we get into a stressful situation, or when we get into a stressful situation, the body releases epinephrine. And the vagus nerve transports that epinephrine into the brain, where there gets another neurotransmitter released. And I'm not going to go into depth with all the neurochemical transitions, but you're welcome to ask me during the Q&A. I have them down. But what happens is these emotionally stressful situations or challenging situations get stored into your long-term memory. And we also classify, is this a threat to my well-being as that happens? And then a fight, flight, or freeze response gets triggered. Now, if that happens over a continued period of time, we experience some prolonged stress of some sorts. And you may recall from your work life experience, oh, deadlines usually don't come by themselves. There's one deadline, then there's another one, and another one, and another one. And every time we pass the deadline, the next one is already in sight. And that ingrains neuronal pathways of these stressful responses and leads to unhealthy hormone levels in our body. And they can wreak havoc on our digestive system, and we get into this more nervous state in general that makes us kind of hypervigilant. And maybe some of you have experienced in that is not the best state to be in. And I'm not just talking about your physical well-being. For this particular talk, I'm interested in, do you have your best ideas under stress? How many of your team members make less mistakes under a lot of stress? And do you make better decisions under high stress? And the answer is likely not. So what do we do with that? That sounds a bit daunting here, but there is good news. And the good news is the fancy word in the title, neuroplasticity. So all of this is a subconscious process, those hormone releases, and then the fight, flight, or freeze response. But because of the neuroplasticity of the brain, we can train and tone that vagal nerve to inhibit the fight or flight response. And if we have a well-trained vagal nerve, then we can recover more quickly from stressful situations. Now, what does neuroplasticity mean? Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. And that allows the neurons in the brain to compensate for injury, disease, or stress, and to adjust to new situations or to changes in the environment, which is what we're currently going through, a big transition of our work lives. And the brain changes in 4 different ways. There is neurogenesis, which means we create new neurons. There is new synapses, which means we create new connections between neurons. Then there are strengthened synapses, which means rerunning the path of something that already exists. And then there are weakened synapses, which means that connections that are no longer used or less used get weakened. So far, so good. Now, what are the benefits of this neuroplasticity and vagus nerve training? On the brain, this is going to increase your concentration and cognition, so performance goes up. And it also increases the creativity and productivity. On the social skills level, which came up in the challenges for you with communication. It enhances connection and it enhances communication. And on a dealing with stress level, we get to a better mood and greater resilience. Now, as with most medicine, there is a long list of very fine print in small font that has other medical benefits in this case. And I'm not going to go through those in detail because that will make me run out of time. But again, happy to dive into that in the Q&A. Instead, I want to talk about how do we now train this vagus nerve? Like, let's get to the bottom of this. And for that, we have breathing techniques. Now, as you sit in front of your computer this morning, listening to presentations, maybe you notice, oh, breathing a bit shallow here. Like, are you making use of your full lung capacity? We often don't breathe out all the way, which is one of the reasons why we're not making use of our full lung capacity. And we spend a lot of time in our heads because we are mind workers and not so much in our bodies as we do this computer work. The answer, luckily, is simple. It's respiratory techniques that we can train and practice. Now, learning theory has shown us if I tell you about these things, it's going to go in through your left ear and out through your right, and not too much is going to stick in between. But how you're really going to take something away from this talk is if you try it out for yourself. So I want to invite you right now to do a 4-minute experiment with me. I'm a researcher. I love self-experiments. So if somebody tells me, oh, I got this good thing for you, then I want to try this out and notice an effect. Otherwise, it'll take some more convincing. So right now, let's try out one of those breathing techniques. May I have your permission to guide you to try this? From here, just lean back in your chair, get a little comfortable, and close your eyes. I promise I'm not going to change the slide until you open it in 4 minutes again. So close your eyes and then take a deep inhale through your nose. And then exhale through the mouth. If you're worried about the sounds that you might be making while you're breathing, you can mute yourself. Other than that, it's just normal breathing. Another deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, let it go. Don't be shy, nobody's watching. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, let it go. Inhale through the nose. All the way up. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. You're doing really well. You're halfway. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the 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 mouth. For the last minute, get 10% more inhale. Exhale, let it go. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Inhale nose. Exhale. Inhale nose. Exhale. Inhale nose. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. 3 breaths more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, hold your breath at the very top. Hold your breath here for as long as is comfortable for your body. And whenever your body asks you to release your breath, you can go ahead and release it. And then relax. Become very present behind your eyes. And then blink open your eyes. Welcome back. So, promise not to change the slide. We're back here together. I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what sensations, just for you to reflect upon, do you now feel in your body? Like, what comes up? Do you feel more energized? Do you feel like there's a little more space? Maybe you feel a little more awake. Maybe you feel some tingling in your body. Maybe you feel your pulse. Whatever it is, just notice it. This was just a tiny taster. So full benefits you can get out of this if you do a session for a full hour. And there is a couple of slightly modified techniques of this. This is just the one that is suitable for you sitting up unprepared in an office chair and just having 4 minutes of time. And the benefits that can result of these techniques, just to summarize, they include improved focus, decision-making, stress resilience, better sleep, better immune system, and so on. Now, could you imagine that that might be useful for your teams in the current situation, considering communication challenges and things going on? Probably, maybe, probably, hopefully. Now, why am I telling you about all this? In Software Center project number 38, which is going into its second round, if you will, I am offering for Sprint 19 as one of the components intro sessions and training packages for these techniques. And the evaluation will be tailored to your company, which means if you are specifically interested in communication, then we will adapt the right metrics to track that for you. So there is a standard survey that I'm applying, and then there is a couple of components that we can add on to that to make it specific to the challenges that you are trying to track in your companies. If it's more about performance and productivity, then there is metrics that we can follow through on that. So I want to make this most relevant to you. Before I go into a little more detail on that, I am really curious to hear how you're doing now on a scale from 1 to 10. This is the last time I'm going to ask you to put in something into this polling tool. So let's see. Good, we still have a strong 3. Okay, so if I recall right from our first poll at the beginning of the talk, the average number has slightly decreased now, which is great. And just reflect for yourself, did I choose a lower number? If my number is not lowered, did I fully buy into that breathing thing, or was there something else going on for me? If the number is lower, interesting. Just noting. And with that, let me wrap it up with my proposal. So my hypothesis is regularly practicing breathing techniques can significantly shift team communication and performance, as well as individual stress resilience. And that is backed up in general by scientific data already, and I'm really interested in investigating that in more detail in your work contexts. In computer-based work, people who work a lot at a screen, who are very mind-focused in their work because that's what we're getting paid to do. So how can we best prepare ourselves for that and increase our neuroplasticity? The methods that I'm applying is I'm offering 60-minute intro online group sessions So that will be the next step. If you say, I'm really interested in this, on a personal level, I'm offering that today at 8 p.m. Central European time. You can just look up my name on Twitter and Instagram, and it'll take you to an Instagram live link where I'm doing this, or you can email me and I'll send you a Zoom link. And I will be offering those intro group sessions on a frequent basis or upon appointment for specific groups. And then I will be offering a weekly online practice over 3 months, and they get evaluated via surveys and then reflective notes, and then also review components. And those review components depend on the challenges that you identify for your company and what exactly you want to be tracking. The expected outcome is that there will be a positive impact on the challenges that you experience with the employees in your company. Again, we'll tailor it to what you are most interested in looking at, because I want to make this most relevant to you. And with that, I am very curious to hear what your questions are.